Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. This week, James is a ne'er-do-well. Ne'er-do-well.
Ne'er-do-well. I like the term
Ne'er-do-well.
ne'er-do-well.
I do too. I do
It's
too.
one of the rare terms that has that,
Why do I have
hyphen and some
furniture
other things
polish
going
over
on. I don't know. Now, is that name brand? That looks generic. I'm not calling you
Oh,
out.
buddy. That's from the dollar store.
Oh, I guess whatever gets you high. By the way, Joe sniffs furniture polish.
I think everybody knew that.
No, so I was just thinking, gentlemen, to kick this show off.
You gummies out of the way. Right back here. Thing. Oh no, I'm just moving Mr. Stay Puff there so he can be in front of Ed 209.
Yeah, Joe, move your
Well,
multivitamin.
These are my multivitamins. These are just
um,
for multivitamin use. Never ever would I take one of these to help me sleep. Throw
um,
it on.
The no, so gentlemen, I was thinking we occasionally we talk about film quite a bit. Occasionally we talk about books and stuff like that, and we occasionally talk about music. And I was thinking, you know what, a subgenre, perhaps a subgenre, is across multiple genres. Country music has some, rock, pop, etc.
Mhm.
Is ne'er do wells in music. Ne'er-do-wells being broadly defined as people that are viewed as lesser than by other members of society. But in
Does
songs,
that make me a ne'er-do-well?
I
I
wasn't going to
know it
call you
makes
out.
James a ne'er-do-well.
I
Hold on, you
I've
are
been
James.
called
Which one's
worse.
Chad?
It doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
When did we get to my colonoscopy and 8 polyps?
They chocolatey.
Chocolately
That's
flavored polyps.
that's an old joke.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
classic from
oh,
our vault that nobody else knows. But I was thinking the music
delicious.
does have the and normally they're respected by the singer, but they're viewed negatively by the general population around the singer in the story of the song.
Right.
And so I was thinking there's quite a few of these, and I jotted down some of my favorites because I was like, it is almost a subgenre of musical ne'er-do-wells, but often once you hear it from the singer's point of view, the songwriter's point of view, I guess, I wouldn't consider them ne'er-do-wells. They're just people living their life, and it sometimes goes against societal expectations or what have you. So I thought, that's a topic we could at least start with and talk about. Because like I said, I don't want to monopolize it, but the one that I emailed you all to kick this off with is Curtis Lowe.
Which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Leonard Skinner songs. The
Right. And
Ballad of
so
Curtis Lowe.
and so Joe, what is that song about? Who is Curtis Lowe?
Curtis Lowe was a picker. This takes place during, I would imagine, sharecropping 30s South. And he liked to drink wine, and he's a poor black man, and he is an exceptional musician, but he's a drunk. And if you give him some money or buy him a bottle of wine, he'll pick for you. The Ballad of Curtis Lowe.
Yeah, he plays what's his instrument?
A dobro,
Yeah,
dobro,
dobro. It's a
yeah,
dobro. He
it's a
plays a
dobro.
dobro.
Yeah, that is really one. I'm not being as far as,
No,
because everybody thinks I like a lot of heavy stuff, and that's true. But as far as some slow, or maybe it's not really,
it's a
it's kind of like
story
a
song.
ballad. It's a story song, like Reuben James.
Reuben James is another one that
You
came to
know, like
mind.
by Kenny Loggins. Reuben James by Kenny Loggins would have been hilarious. Sorry. I went through the Reuben James. Anyway, back to the Reuben James.
But so actually Reuben James is another one, right? He's kind of
Yeah,
a ne'er-do-well.
but back to Curtis Lowe. This is a young white kid who is literally stealing, well, getting money, or however he's getting it, doesn't
He's
really
getting he
pilfering.
takes pop bottles in,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
he
takes to get
changes
that
hands so
money.
he can get wine. So Curtis was a black man with light curly hair. If he had a drink of wine, he did not have a care. He used to play an old dobro, used to play it across his knee. Oh my God, I give my money to Curtis and he play all day for me. Did I get it right?
Yep,
I am not
yeah,
looking it up.
close enough. Close enough. I mean, that's what I remember. So you got it good
So
enough to fool me.
the kid loves listening to him. And I don't know, this is an interesting topic for me, kind of, because Do you all have anybody like that who was a ne'er-do-well when you were younger that you liked? I had a couple. My dad tended to keep ne'er-do-wells around him. Not necessarily drunks, but people who weren't overly successful.
Yeah, well, and I think that's it though, right? You see these people because they didn't have a job. I'm not being mean, but most of
They
them
didn't
didn't
have
have
a
a
job.
job.
No.
And I think every small community had a couple of these. I could name names, and if you were from where I'm from, you would know them.
Oh, who is the guy that went to all the fish fries?
Chester
Chester.
Christie.
Oh,
It wasn't just fish fries, dude. If there was free food to be had, you knew it didn't matter if it was a spaghetti supper at a church. It didn't matter the religion. It didn't matter if you grew up where I did, and
Chester
you
Christie.
were
I knew it was Chester. I couldn't remember the last name.
if you and by the way, I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know anything. So if somebody sees this and can give me an update on Chester Christie, I won't know anything. But still, it doesn't matter. But no, there was two, and then Chester Christie was one, and there was another one, and this gentleman, and he was nothing but nice to my family. My family historically knew his family historically,
Mhm.
but they called him Heidi Bill, and they called him Heidi Bill because every time you saw him, he'd just wave. He had some mental issues, but was nice to everybody. He
Mhm.
begged for money all the time, but it was just like everybody knew him because everybody knew his family.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, it's so if you grew up in a certain area, and I would maybe if you grew up in any area, you got to know certain
Small
ones.
town. Small
Yeah,
town or small corners in cities, probably blocks in cities.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the two growing up that I always heard about and I would see were Chester Christie, because again, man, there was nothing better than back in the day in rural Kentucky, y'all. They had a number one way to do a political campaign was to have a fish fry.
Mhm.
And I never knew somebody that was all for every single party was,
I love
you know,
Megadeth.
was going to
That's an
be
inside joke for Chad. And by the way, if you not to interrupt, but Chad's name, if you're listening to us on the Zoom, is James is going bald.
it's not, it's here, folks. It's just I'm unkempt. I'm not doing well. Thanks for calling me out.
I think this new toupee I've got is
Oh,
really sticking.
I was gonna get a hairpiece, but it was too much to pay.
Ah,
It's a classic. Anyway, but no, so I think that's another reason these songs come to mind though, because if we grew up in Kentucky, all three of us in different parts of Kentucky, but these were people like we didn't have a Reuben James, but
Reuben James.
uh
Chad, do you just nod yes or no? Do you know any of these songs? Fuck,
Reuben
I
James
knew
is
he
by
did.
the Gambler.
I thought you might know Curtis Lowe, but you don't know Reuben James?
I am not. No, I don't know who Reuben James is, and I am admittedly not a huge fan
Well,
of Leonard Skinner. So I don't know their whole.
But
I
you
don't
like
know.
Simple
well,
Man.
Chad,
I like Simple Man. That's
Chad.
that's it.
That's not even their best song. It's the Ballad of Curtis Lowe.
Reuben Reuben James was cussed all over Madison County. He was a no account sharecropping colored man who would steal anything he can. And
That's the song, Chad. That's the lyrics
everybody laid the blame
on
on
Reuben
Reuben
James.
James. Reuben James.
James.
Who sung
Um
this song?
Kenny
Kenny
Rogers, the
Rogers.
gambler.
In between the
Oh,
chicken frying.
Yeah. In
oh,
between the
It
gambler
betwixt gamblings, the
and
six packs, and the chicken frying, he fit
and the
in.
and a planet
don't
known as
forget the
Texas.
facelifts.
That's a deep cut. Planet known as Texas got a music video, but nobody remembers that one
I
anymore.
don't remember that one. You're right.
Well, look up the music video. It's about aliens that are from a planet known as Texas that come to America.
Hmm.
But Reuben James is another one, which is funny because he's a ne'er-do-well. But what does he teach the narrator? Which Kenny Rogers sings it, but
Yeah.
he teaches him religion on his hand, even though he's the ne'er-do-well that everybody blames.
Reuben James.
Reuben James. So yeah, and Reuben James still walks the furrowed lands in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
He is a ne'er-do-well that had such a big impact, taught this kid about religion, but everybody else hated it.
Yeah.
It's along the same stereotype as I guess in literature, the concept of the stereotype or the not stereotype, the trope of like
Mhm.
the whore with the heart of gold. These
Now, what did
musical
you do? You say
ne'er-do-wells.
horror?
Yeah,
He totally did.
horror
Hmm.
with
And
the
they have a heart of
gold.
gold, you see. You
Yeah.
say. Now, how
Meanwhile,
come they charge me?
well, that's you didn't go to one with the heart of gold.
Well,
Well,
who did I go to?
fairness,
I don't know.
if they cashed in the heart, they would die.
That's true. And what you need to do is there's an entire song by Neil Young about how he's trying to find him.
Not to mention the
Keeps
health.
on
Heart of
searching for that
gold.
heart of gold.
Not to mention the health complications of having a heart of gold, which it would be expensive, which is probably why they went into that line of work.
Oh, you can afford it.
All right, so no, Joe, you got Reuben James, you've got Curtis Lowe.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites, and he's a ne'er-do-well, but the song eventually you find out it's from his point of view. It was performed by the Monkees, is a version that people know if they know the song at all. But it was originally performed in the same year before the Monkees did it, shortly before the Monkees version came out. The Coasters released a version of it that nobody knows, and that's
You know who
D.W. Washburn.
Okay, I've heard it before. Heard the
D.W.
name, but I can't
Washburn,
sing the song.
I think it's a fascinating ne'er-do-well song because it's basically the conversation between him, and it ends from his point of view, between him and this religious charity lady that's trying to get him to stop being homeless. And there's a line in it that I always think about where, it's D.W. Washburn, we picked you to save. And he doesn't want to be saved. It ends with the lyric, I got a bottle of wine, I'm doing fine, and I believe I've got it made. He's not cold. He's not. So they're offering him stuff like a hot bowl of soup is waiting, a hot bowl of soup and a shave. He's like, why would I want that? I don't want soup. I don't want a shave. I'm happy where I am. Leave me alone with my wine. And I think there's something to that in some ways because he's just doing what he wants to do. And if he's not hurting anybody, is he really a ne'er-do-well?
Well,
or is he just living his life?
So breaking it down for people, and the reason why we're probably obsessed with these ne'er-do-wells is probably the same reason why we're obsessed with Hell's Angels, why we're obsessed with characters like, and I love, I started because I'm not joking. I had to have a colonoscopy. Not that anybody cares about this, but when I came back from it, I had taken the day and I've just been binging because my kid wasn't here, Reacher, and I love Reacher. And the reason why I like Reacher, probably the same reason Reacher walks around, doesn't have anything going on, and just gets into mischief. We have talked about these kinds of folks for years. If it's not Kane from Kung Fu, it's Reacher, it's right.
Snake Plissken can be a ne'er-do-well.
Snake Plissken is one of the ultimate ne'er-do-wells because Snake don't give a fuck about anybody, and it's true freedom.
Yeah.
It's freedom not only of being able to make your own choices, but it's freedom from, for a good example, look around me, possessions.
Yeah.
Now, I enjoy my possessions. They make, like, for example, if you ever watch the show, if you're listening to us and you want to check out YouTube, the Kool-Aid man above me gives me joy. The M&Ms give me joy behind me and around me. These things give me joy. However, I do know that they are still an albatross.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you pay for an M&M polish, but I would imagine it's not nothing.
Well, it's about the same as Tuscaloosa dumpling.
Oh,
but and once again, she did not have a heart. He did not have a heart of gold.
Tuscaloosa dumpling. Now that starts with your Memphis mouthwash. Anyway,
mouthwash.
So D.W. Washburn, another one I thought about, and I absolutely love, and I think I love it because I love the performer. You know who else is a ne'er-do-well that I love that's in music?
Who?
Well, Joe, he can eat up his weight in groceries and he's going to kill all them alligators. Oh, but he only got one hand.
Only got just the one.
Because an alligator done bit the other one off because his daddy used to use him for alligator bait.
You know who it is, Chad. He named him after a man of the cloth.
He named him Amos Moses. Jerry Reed, Chad music.
Chad. Quit bonehead. Just decide. Just go up.
And when James said that this was going to be the topic of the episode, I literally dropped because I was like, I am not an avid music listener. I have songs that I love. I have
It's
have
all
songs that make me happy.
ska.
If it ain't
No,
Gregorian
Lord,
chants,
no.
Chad doesn't show up.
If it ain't
Throat
Enya,
singing. He loves that throat singing.
I do enjoy ska. I don't know why people hate on it, but is it my favorite genre? Not by
well, it's right
Well,
up there
you
with
know-
Enya for you. I mean, you're there
But-
making your
but-
damn spinach omelet. listening
actually,
to
ska has some
Sail
ne'er do
away,
wells in
sail
it,
away,
right?
sail-
Oh yeah.
I mean, because why am I blanking? The Mighty Mighty Ballstones were considered ska, and they have the Rascal King
Well, ska is jazz for
Hmm.
stoners.
because the Rascal King, is he the one behind the bars or the one in front of them?
Think about it for a half a second. Get back to me. I'm going to have this delicious old-fashioned rock candy and following along.
The
The bag is empty. There's only
Yeah, I was over there last week. I was
Chad
over
ate
there
'em
this
all.
past week. There was nothing in it but little bitty slivers. So I tried a little bitty sliver and I got the licorice kind, you fucker.
well, if you'd have got here earlier or maybe brought a bag of old-fashioned hard candy, we wouldn't have had this problem. But no,
build
you
you
were
a
too
time-
busy listening to the stoner jazz.
Build yourself a time machine. Go
I
back to-
went, they did not have it. Even though I almost bought you a tub of cotton candy cheese puffs just to make you go wince.
I mean,
No,
I'd
What
have
the hell
stopped.
did you bring this for?
Chad, build your time machine and go back to the 5 and dime, Billy Dean. That's
There you go.
that's an illusion. All right, another one. Maybe Chad's heard of this one. I would hope.
I've got one myself.
Oh, go ahead, fire away.
Bar.
You got to go Men at Work down under. That's about a near to well.
Yeah,
I guess it
Yeah.
is. I never thought about it. They did make him a Vegemite sandwich.
Yeah, I met
Yeah.
a strange lady. She made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast, and she said, "Course." Then he goes buying bread from a man in Brussels. He was 6'4" and full of muscle. And that one he just said and that's where he got his Vegemite sandwich. And he says, lying in a den in Bombay with a slack jaw and not much to say. And I said to the man, "Are you trying to tempt me? Because I come from the land of plenty." I mean, it's about a traveler who's really not up on his
just
luck,
coasting through.
just
yeah.
coasting through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once again, why do we love stories, whether they be songs, whether they be TV shows, whether they be books, about these people who it has to be the freedom. I want to
Yeah.
start quoting Easy Rider, and Jack Nichols's whole line is not that they hate you because of your long hair. They hate you because of what you represent. They hate you because you represent true freedom. Of course, that's the whole point of Easy Rider is they don't. They're actually just trying to make the big score, and then it ends up getting them
Yeah.
killed.
Which, by the way, Jack Nicholson has a similar line, not as a similarly delivered line in As Good as It Gets that I love.
Mhm.
Some people
Which
have
by-
happy stories.
And by the way, depending on the part of the country, that movie has a happy ending.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
Some people-
too soon. Too soon.
Dennis Hopper, rest in peace.
Rest
Peter Fond, or
Peter
yeah,
Fonda, rest in peace.
he's-
Jack
No,
Nicholson,
no,
rest in
only
peace.
one of them. Wait, Jack Nicholson died?
No.
Oh, don't say that. That would. I
well,
mean, I know
he's
he's
not.
retired.
He's not working, so he might as well have.
No. I need him to be out there doing whatever he does, going to the basketball games.
With Diane Cannon. Oh wait, no.
Man,
She's
is it
cheap.
1995 again, Jack?
There. By the way, most of these ne'er do wells are men, but there's a couple songs about ne'er do wells that do focus on women. But most of the time, it's a man telling a woman that she's doing wrong, such as in the case of Roxanne.
But she doesn't need to leave leave her red light on.
You don't have to turn on the red. But yeah, Roxanne. I mean, Roxanne's a ne'er do well.
Well, she's a
He's-
whore.
Yeah. But he's basically saying, I'll take you away from this. And she keeps turning on the light.
Well, because she likes whoring.
That's what I
does-
mean.
Why does he got to be all up in her business?
Well, but I think it's the same thing as, again, it's the parallel of the religious lady in D.W. Washburn. I'm trying to save you. Obviously, she doesn't want to be saved. That's not what she wants. That's not what she's there to do.
Hmm.
There are a couple ne'er-do-well songs that end bad for the ne'er-do-well.
I just want to point out, I don't think Google knows what ne'er do well means.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Rick Astley's never going to give you up.
I'm never going to let you go. I'm never going to tell
That's not a ne'er-do-well song. I mean,
Sure is.
unless he's singing it to you while you're at the bottom of a hole.
Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire."
That's not a ne'er-do-well song either.
It's not even
No.
about a person.
It's about multiple persons.
Oh,
But so there's Roxanne.
hold on.
Keep going. I'm curious.
I don't, it doesn't say the name of the song. David Foster and Olivia Newton-John.
Well, that
Okay.
can't be good.
Can somebody Google what David Foster and Olivia Newton-John did together?
The
'Cause
best
if
of
it's-
me. The best
Oh.
of me.
Huh.
Like,
Hold on. I got. Sorry,
Ah.
keep going. I'm going to look up the lyrics.
Okay. Well, I mean, because there is a song about ne'er-do-well that causes all these problems. Actually, there's a couple of them, and it doesn't work out for him. And an example of that is, of course, Bad Leroy Brown.
I heard he's the baddest cat in the whole darn town. He's badder than old King Kong. He's sometimes people have said meaner than a junkyard dog.
Which is not the original lyric, by the way.
Oh,
Do you know that? Seriously.
No, please tell me.
It was concentration camp dog.
Oh.
He changed it. He realized that did not come across well.
Now it's not
Junkyard dog
That's-
is a little bit better. At least that's the story that I've heard. I did not talk to Jim Croce to back that up, but that's what I
Well,
read.
let's call his ass up.
I don't think he'll answer. Bad Leroy Brown, though, also has the equivalent of you don't mess around with Slim.
Don't mess around with Slim.
You don't pull the coat, the cape off the old. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone
old
Ranger. You don't step on Superman's cape, and you don't mess around with Slim.
That's true. I don't know why. He's awfully slim.
So Leroy Brown, though, it doesn't end well, right? Because eventually somebody shows up to town.
I swear, I
give-
don't remember how Leroy Brown ends.
Oh well, Leroy Brown, he has a rival effectively show up that says, "No, I'm tougher than you are," and they fight, and Leroy Brown loses a piece of his ear in the fight, and when let me quote the song, when he managed to stand up again, he looks like a jigsaw puzzle with a couple pieces gone.
That don't
So-
sound like a good day.
Yeah, so I mean that's a ne'er-do-well that pays for his actions, but his ne'er-do-welling is actually negative. He's not like these good ne'er-do-wells that just want to be left alone, that don't want to be saved.
The good ne'er-do-wells.
I think there are good ne'er-do-wells, at least in the
No, I
context
just
of
like
these messages.
I just like.
We need to write a short story collection called The Good Ne'er-do-Wells.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody will publish it, but we can write it and we can look at the paper occasionally and be like, yep,
Yeah, show
somebody
it.
could do something with that.
And then we'll walk around going, "Have you read my manifesto?"
Yeah. I have a manuscript in development. But
Mm.
there's also another one that Chad, did you find any lyrics of note?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Is it a
Um,
ne'er-do-well song, Chad?
Oh, not even close. Alone between the sheets only brings Oh wait, no, that's overkill.
It was overkill, but I could stand to hear some
I
more.
could stand to hear some more about you alone betwixt these sheets.
Sorry. You were my one more chance I never thought I'd find. You were the one romance I always known in my mind. No one will ever touch me more, and I will want that in return. I might have saved the best of me for you.
Oh,
Okay.
Not a ne'er-do-well song,
not a
guys.
ne'er-do-well song.
I don't
No.
even know which song that is.
I've never heard of it.
But there's one more ne'er-do-well, though, that is a very tragic ne'er-do-well song that came to mind, too. For you see, gentlemen, Billy Joel McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
He did.
And if you're not familiar with that song by Bobby Gentry, she's singing a song about, she is the protagonist as well. She finds out over dinner that Billy Joel McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge, and you slowly get some clues that they were somehow linked together,
Mm-hmm.
but you never get the full story, which actually made the song that much more popular. I think it went to number one for quite some time, and it also inspired a movie. We could do an entire episode about songs that later on inspired movies.
Starring Robbie Benson.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
I don't think so.
think
That
I'm
sounds
right.
right.
I think I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother to look it up.
No, don't. It'll just spoil the surprise.
There's just no reason.
But yeah, so Billie Joe McAllister is referred to throughout the song by her family as being absolutely useless. He never was worth a lick anyhow. You know, he played pranks on people. And then, you know, the mother eventually says, still shame to hear that he died jumping off of that bridge. So,
Yeah. I don't, you kind of already burned through a couple of mine. I don't really have.
no, I'm sorry, but feel free to, I mean, because
Well, no,
ones that I thought about.
I don't know if this qualifies as a ne'er do well song, but but The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the cheat. Oh my God. I can't hear that without thinking about the whole thing in Reservoir Dogs. Where there was, I didn't know the cheating blah 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 is the one that killed the. Well, it says it in the song. I know, motherfucker. I'm not doing Tarantino.
No. But no, I mean, it's about Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, who he doesn't have a lot of friends. He's hanging out at a bar. He finds out his wife's cheating on him, and he goes and finds, the room covered in blood, and he ends up getting hanged for it, convicted of murder. I mean, I guess it's not really a ne'er do well.
Well, I mean, he's hanging out at a bar, which it gives opportunity for his wife to cheat on him. But also, why is he at a bar?
Yeah.
I mean, not saying that everybody that goes to bars are ne'er-do-wells. I just support prohibition.
But he didn't have friends, so he could have just been a drunk. It's not,
Yeah. I mean, and so I would say there's an interpretation to be made there.
Hmm.
There's also though, so we kind of got a hierarchy of musical ne'er-do-wells. Because we've talked about these are good ne'er-do-wells that just want to be left alone. We've got a couple tragic ne'er-do-wells. There's also, though, the bad ne'er-do-wells. I think one of the best bad ne'er-do-wells would be from Jimi Hendrix. Joe.
Joe. Where are you going, Joe? With that gun in your hand. Well, you know what, James? I had 7 points.
Now that number keeps changing.
I know. I think it was 7 or 8.
He's 122.
I was wondering, I'm more Pollock man than man. Do you know where I'm going with that gun in my hand? I'm going down to shoot my old lady. I caught her messing around with another man, and that ain't too cool.
Yep.
Actually,
I mean, that's
as much as I love Hendrix, and God knows I love Hendrix, that's not my favorite Hendrix song. And you know what my favorite Hendrix song is?
Now, what's your favorite Hendrix song?
Castles Made of Sand.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Castles Made of Sand fade into the sea eventually.
Yeah, and so there's a subgenre of.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a subgenre of terrible ne'er-do-wells that are dangerous. Johnny Cash did a couple of them. Mm-hmm. Early one morning while making the rounds, I took a shot of cocaine and I shot my woman down.
Yeah.
I shot her down because she made me slow. She said I was her daddy, but she had 5 more.
Well, I mean, he didn't need the cocaine to do that. I haven't heard 5 other lovers.
No, but he wouldn't be a ne'er-do-well if he didn't also do that cocaine. That's the tipping point.
Yeah, the tipping point or the murder? The cocaine or the murder is the tipping point.
I'll be honest, one's more justifiable in court. Seriously, if you think about it, oh man, I found out she's cheating on me with 5 other guys. Temporary insanity. You might get some leniency. Second they hear, oh, he's doing cocaine, hang him.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that half jokingly, but there's a tipping point there. The cocaine, in the eyes of the law, normally would make him that much worse of a ne'er-do-well.
Well, and also, so I thought while we're doing this, I wanted to take a moment and look up just ne'er-do-well characters. And when you do that, what it basically does, Chad's right. Google hates ne'er-do-wells because it basically keeps busting you over the head with 1923 novel the ne'er-do-well.
There's a good.
And also, when you look up songs, you got more out of it than I did. There's a song called Ne'er-do-Well, and there's a band called Ne'er-do-Well. There's not really. They didn't even list Reuben James or the Ballad of Curtis Lowe.
I actually Googled ne'er-do-well characters and songs, or songs about ne'er-do-well characters. And yeah, eventually I found David Foster and Olivia Newton-John's The Best of Me.
In movies, Like there's a 1923 movie, The Ne'er-do-Well.
Well, and nobody knows this show, as we learned when we tried to launch a sketch thing at the end of every episode. But Otis from
Mhm. That's a
the Andy
ne'er-do-well.
Griffith Show is a ne'er-do-well.
That's
He's
absolutely.
drunk all the time.
That's
he
a
never
good one.
does anything. He just
But he
sits and
sure
drinks.
is fun.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, actually, Andy Griffith Show has actually a couple example of ne'er-do-wells. You've got Otis, but then you have what's his name that's throwing rocks all the time?
Otis.
No, his entire family.
Charlene?
No. What is his name on the show?
Ernest T. Bass.
Ernest T. Bass. Ernest T. Bass is a ne'er-do-well.
I was
He's
like,
more.
what the fuck are you talking about? For some odd reason, I thought we were already talking about Ernest T. Bass. Of course,
No.
he's
Ernest
a
T.
ne'er-do-well.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
he sure is
he's-
interesting.
But he shows that hierarchy of ne'er-do-well. Otis is the leave me alone and just let me drink ne'er-do-well, the low maintenance.
Played by the great character actor and comedian Howard Morris, who also was a writer and a director, and directed quite a bit of the Andy Griffith Show.
But I think again, there's great examples of heroic ne'er-do-wells from television and later movies. Because I think you have to argue that, them Duke boys are ne'er-do-wells.
They are.
But they're awful heroic.
So is Uncle Jesse. They're all ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
Right? The whole family.
Well, hell, the bandit is a ne'er-do-well.
Don't you besmirch the bandit here.
Now, he was a ne'er-do-well, but he's a fun ne'er-do-well. I'd watch it.
Not even a ne'er-do-well. He is the king of the road. King of
No,
the
that's
Southern
Roger
road.
Miller. Actually, that's an example. That's a good one, Joe, that you unintentionally scrambled.
Unintentionally. I know. I was trying to think of something other than that.
King
You
of the
leave
road,
Bo
Roger
Darville alone.
God.
Bo's my
Bo
name.
Darville.
Nobody knows that the bandit's name is Bo Darville.
I know.
The
For
first
years,
person who ever taught me that was James Thomas.
Yep, for years that was my fake name I used on Fantasy Sport was Bo Darville, and nobody knew what I was talking
That's
about.
actually, so if you go back and watch Smokey and the bandit's real name in the movie is Bo Darville.
Yep.
Bo's my real name.
Yep, Bo Darville. I used it for anytime I wanted to put a fake name down, it was Bo Darville.
Because Sally Field has the line, Bandit, is that your name or your occupation?
Yep.
That's my handle. Bo's my real name.
Yep, Bo Darville. So if you ever hear somebody complain about Bo Darville, there's a chance I was nearby and signed a fake name.
Yep.
I don't do that often, but
I think you should do it more often.
But yeah, so I was just saying, but like I said, there's almost a subgenre, and you could think of 1,000 more. And by the way, if you're listening to this and think, well, they didn't mention my favorite song, Paste Pot Pete. That's not a song; it's a character from Marvel Comics. But not to be confused with Condiment Man, who's in DC.
Well, I think we've beaten ne'er-do-well to death. Before we finish the episode, what else do we want to talk about? What else do we have going on?
Well,
not everybody at once. Oh, by the way, see, Chad told me it was good, but season 2 of Reacher is just as good, if not better, than the first season.
Yeah, did I lie? I never said that.
You said it was good, but it's just as good, if not better. I was telling you, you're right.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you said I didn't say. I was like, I thought it was.
You thought it was good, and I've been watching. It's. I mean,
I love it.
Through 4 or 5 episodes quick.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. Well, I was watching them. I wish I would have waited so I could have just marathoned it. But yeah, it's killing me because I watched every week and it just kept ending on a cliffhanger. I'm like, son of a bitch.
It's done though, right?
Just like, yeah, it's done. Just like Night Country. I'm doing that with the True Detective Night Country. And I wish I would just let it build up.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting until it's done.
But
so
far, damn, it's so good.
And he's fantastic for Reacher. That may very well be one of the best casting choices of all time.
Agreed.
And he doesn't even do anything. He just is Reacher.
Yeah.
So what I want to say though, the best line is one of the characters. James, have you watched it? I'm going to give away one joke.
That's fine.
One of the characters is using a nom de plume, right, of Sarah Connor. And when one of the big bad guys is played by Robert Patrick, and he's like, well, that's blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, who's Sarah Connor? I don't give a fuck who Sarah Connor is. I started laughing, and I don't think anybody around me got the joke.
By the way, can we just give Robert Patrick an award for something? Because between Peacemaker and evidently Reacher.
Well, he's okay in Reacher. He's just the big bad. He's one
Well,
of the
no,
big
but
bad.
I mean, just the fact, like, honestly, when they did the opening credits for Reacher and he came out and did his version of that dance, I was like, man,
You
Robert
mean the
Patrick
opening
gets.
credits of not
I'm
Reacher,
sorry, Reacher, not
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
Now he's much better in Peacemaker. He gets to act a lot more.
Yeah, yeah.
He's very one note in Reacher.
Can I? By the way, another narrative well, not from a song.
What
but
lie is James living, Chad?
Um.
Please tell us.
The not from songs, but there's a narrative well that I've grown to appreciate the more I've watched reruns of a certain show on television, and nobody's going to get this because I don't think many people are familiar with this show anymore, which is a shame. Because the more actually I started watching it on Tubi or one of those free old show streaming services.
Old timey radio.
Angel Martin may be one of the best narrative wells television has ever seen.
Who is Angel Martin?
Angel Martin appears in several, and the actor that plays him won 2 Emmys for playing him. Angel Martin was a reoccurring character on the Rockford Files. Angel
Okay.
Martin was his former cellmate, and anytime Angel showed up, as much as Rockford got beat up anyway, it was going to be worse because Angel was going to be running some sort of con, and he would tell Rockford just enough to get him to help him, and then everything would blow up, and Rockford always ended up more or less taking the fall. And
But
Angel
not-
always
but not
promised it
actually
would be
being the fall
different.
guy. Not being the fall guy. I have to admit something, and I promise, please don't attack me out there in TV land. I don't think I've ever seen a whole episode of the Rockford Files in my life.
I love the Rockford Files because the fact that every episode starts with a new recording on his answering machine, and sometimes they're really, really funny. Of people saying, like, sometimes it's a woman saying, you're not returning my calls, Rockford. What's going on? But then other times it's like, hey, this is a call to distract you while we repossess your belongings. I mean, so it's always whatever's going on. But the actor that played him was Stuart Margolin.
Yeah.
And they did a TV movie, which was Angel's Return or something, not too long before the actor that played him passed away. And since, obviously, I almost said Jimmy Stewart, but Jimmy Stewart didn't play Rockford. He didn't. Don't even look it up. Jimmy Stewart did not play Rockford. I'm blanking on the guy's name. James Garner.
There you go.
James Garner.
You're welcome. Think of your secretary and your first name.
What? I'm confused. Okay.
I was watching
but yeah.
Settles the other night.
Yeah, I know. I got the illusion. I just don't know. I don't.
Illusion or illusion?
Allusion.
Why were you scared?
There's several reasons I'm scared. It's yeah.
By
the way,
oh my gosh.
No, you all were talking about Google, so I Googled ne'er-do-wells. I kid you not. I can't say how far down I am, but it's on the first page that Google generated.
To Chad,
for
you're
me.
living a lie, so I don't know how far down you're going on who it is.
The Google returned a bunch of ne'er-do-wells mentioning the movie Ne'er-do-well, like you all said, et cetera, et cetera. But then the first one that doesn't have ne'er-do-well at the very top in the title, the top 10 greatest Irish TV characters. What systematic racism against the Irish is Google practicing? You search ne'er-do-wells. Do you mean Irish? That's what it basically
Our
did.
one Irish listener right now is throwing a bottle of fucking Guinness at us. Thank you so much.
I'm quoting.
He's throwing bottles of Guinness and potatoes at the screen, screaming,
right
I shall kill them all. I shall kill
right
them all.
There.
I shall blow them up like Tommy Lee
greatest,
Jones and blown away.
It says, which is, we all know, the best
Irish accent ever.
Irish character ever, and the accent is flawless. We don't have such wonderful things in Dublin.
Flawless.
So anyway, yeah, but actually, sorry, it popped up on my screen. Eddie Munson from Stranger Things.
Yeah, he's a ne'er-do-well. There's a good one.
That's a modern one you people may have heard of if you don't watch the Andy Griffith Show or Rockford Files.
I know, where have they been? But that's one that was really popular. I mean, he was quite hot for a second, but he was on the convention circuit too, but I haven't heard jack shit since last summer. Have you all?
Mm-mm.
I mean, Well, the problem is though there's also those strikes, right?
Yeah,
So what
I
do you?
guess.
I mean, that's going to affect your ability to get jobs, to do other things, et cetera, et cetera.
Etc. Etc. Alec Baldwin's doing conventions now.
But he's also going back to court.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be positive.
I'm.
So was Kevin Spacey, by the way.
Oh, is he going back to court again?
No, Kevin Spacey is doing Mad Monster Con in North Carolina.
Well, he is a
First
monster.
convention appearance ever.
He is a
And
monster. See what I did there?
yeah, I see what you did there. I was going back and forth if Jared booked him, how I'd feel about it. I guess I'd probably go ahead and do the interview.
Well, in all fairness, I guess he was technically found
Not guilty in several courts.
not guilty. I don't think we're going to see and why am I blanking on the actor's name that plays on Star Trek Discovery? But I don't think they'll both be at the same convention.
No, they wouldn't do that, would they? Would they?
I would imagine not.
You guys are getting quiet on me.
No, I would hope they wouldn't do that. I like
Kevin
what's his name
Spacey?
from Discovery. No,
Kevin Spacey?
I mean Kevin Spacey.
Are you pro Spacey?
No, I think the problem with it is, and what makes
Is
me
that the
really
lie
mad-
you're living that Chad keeps
No.
mentioning?
No, I think what really makes me mad. Speaking of ne'er-do-wells, maybe we should actually talk about real ones. Kevin Spacey. It makes me wonder. 70 years ago, with Kevin Spacey, would it have even been mentioned?
No.
I think about Errol Flynn.
No, never would have been mentioned.
Errol Flynn, Fatty Arbuckle. Now, Fatty Arbuckle was found innocent, and later on they said they've made it up. But these were people that had multiple allegations against him. I think Errol Flynn had 3 to 4 rape allegations against him.
Yeah, but Errol Flynn got to keep his career. There was a one Fatty Arbuckle who did not. Chad will be more than happy to educate you about it.
Yeah.
And pretty sure Errol Flynn was guilty.
Oh, dude.
Dude, he
read
admitted
My
to it.
Wicked
Yeah.
Ways. I love, if you want an entertaining book about Hollywood, past, present, future, I don't care. It's hard to top My Wicked Ways. Now, if you buy the newer version of it, a film historian basically said by the time he got around writing that book, he may have even made himself sound worse because he was just he had gotten to the point where he had a lot of anger toward his own past. But that book is, parts of it are fall down funny, but he was, by his own admission, I mean, he titled his book My Wicked Ways.
Mm-hmm.
He was not going to be the person meeting you on a street corner trying to save you and trying to get you, to give up the drugs and the alcohol.
Right.
He went a different way. And he also talks in the book about having to get funding for his later films from, I don't know, can't remember if it was Japan, maybe, but he uses some harsh language because he says, "See, what is it? The Sons of the Red Sun funded me for a while. Later, I'll call them the Sons of something else,
Oh,
something like that." I'm off a little bit, but yeah, his book is, it's compelling to read it.
all right. Let's start to wrap up. Anything else we need to talk about?
Why aren't there more words like ne'er-do-well, Joe?
Because people fucking hate speaking well, I guess it's the Kings.
Yeah.
They just do. I walk around campus.
Yeah, well, I think, but it's a unique combined word because, of course, it's never do well,
Yeah.
except when it's applied to a person, and it's a title. It's
Mhm.
ne'er do well.
Yeah.
Such a fun word.
It is a fun word.
We don't drop other words to make fun of people. Like I couldn't, if I was trying to refer to Chad as potentially brain damaged, I couldn't just be like he's brain damaged. I couldn't just drop a D and everybody be okay with it.
No, probably not.
I'm going to bring Dick Nut back.
Never left us. It was Chad. It was always with us here in the human heart.
Dick nut?
Dick Nut.
What exactly is a dick nut?
You're a dick nut.
It's a generic Zagnut.
Do they taste the same?
I haven't had Zagnut in years. I'd eat
Oh,
one right now though if I had one.
I would eat one right now too.
Isn't there coconut on a Zagnut?
Yeah, but I mean, you could
Yeah.
still try it.
Pass.
You never
That's fine.
pass
I
on
don't want
anything
you to
from-
have one. I don't need the
and
competition.
especially if it's called a dick nut, you're not passing.
If it has coconut on it, I am.
Nuh-uh.
Ugh.
Says that till
It's, I know it's not really. Is it? I guess it is coconut. Shit, I haven't had one. Let's all go. Somebody come pick my ass up and take me to get a Zagnut.
it's a hell of a drive for me, but I'll give it a go.
I mean, you ain't got nothing else going on.
I got a bunch of meetings, but I mean, give me a little bit. I'll be there. I'll get there.
I mean, you ain't got nothing else going on.
Man, there's a bunch of candy bars I haven't had in a while. I ain't seen a Zero bar in a while. I know they still
No?
make them. I see them every blue moon. Them Chico sticks.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, not for
The
sure.
great taste of a Charleston chew.
Hmm.
Yeah, just let's keep going. Just
No,
doing
I'm
gross.
just thinking about
chew?
candy bars I haven't had in a while. Or I
Well,
don't
let's
see
all
often.
go to the Cracker Fuck barrel and see what they've
Yeah.
got, and that's where we'll
Yeah.
get them because they
Yeah.
have all these things. Who wants to go get a Goo Goo cluster?
Oh man, I ain't had one of them.
They're actually, I actually kind of like Goo Goo clusters. I
Man,
never
I
had
don't-
one until a few years ago.
I brought down some of those Blue Monday made in Kentucky
The
chocolates.
blue waffle.
No, Blue Monday. They're made. I guess Ruth Evans or that's not
Ruth
not-
Hunt.
Ruth Hunt. Ruth Ann Evans. has
We
been a
worked
guest
with
on our
Ruth
show.
Ann.
No, Ruth Ann. We worked with it more. Ruth Ann Evans has done our show before, and probably will do it again. She's up to 7 books out now, by the way.
Mm.
That's a plug. Check out her books. But anyway, that being said, yeah, no, yeah.
Where the fuck are you even going?
Dude, I
with
don't
this
know anymore. I
sentence?
literally am exhausted. And
I
out
am
my
all.
mind.
We're tired. We're sorry. Next couple, we are actually scheduling guests. We will have a topic. We will have more next week. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Chad, you got anything to say? Because you didn't say jack shit for an hour and a half. You remember?
Chad.
You remember?
Chad's
You remember
been- you know
Admiral
what?
Stockdale when you didn't say nothing there for 45 minutes? That was genius. That was genius.
And that part where you acted like your headphones weren't working, and you couldn't hear us, didn't
Ah,
have
Huh?
them on. Oh,
Oh.
that sent a message. That let people know you're thinking. You don't have time to worry about technology. You're thinking up here. Up here is what you're thinking.
Or that time that you just started writing out things, and this is for the most part an audio cast. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. Well, they'd never see it. Or when you remember that time when your wife was in the other room and you was messaging us saying, "Don't say anything, my wife will hear it." She
Yeah,
knows that I
yeah.
love my angry gay lovers.
And now that
They went
part,
Southern for some odd reason. I say, Chad loves an angry gay lover.
and that part where you knew that we'd only have some of this in audio, but you came out dressed as the demon from Kiss. That was classy.
That was
I like
awesome.
that. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
You know what Chad is? A ne'er-do-well.
A fuck nut. No,
No,
hold-
no.
What was it called again? A
Dick
nut?
nut.
Now, how would that work?
I don't know.
It's best not to think about it.
But
Are
I
you
can't
sure?
stop now.
It's just enough to where it hurts. It hurts, but then people go, "What the fuck did that mean?"
He can't stop thinking about now. It compels him.
They get
It
pissed
don't
off.
make no sense. But
They
it does
get pissed
compel
off
me.
at first, and then as they leave, they get a migraine trying to think of what the hell it meant. It's a perfect insult.
Oh, much like if it wasn't for that stupid horse, I wouldn't have
Oh.
wasted that year at college.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my god. There is a teacher at my kids' swim class, and they have a monitor that gives info about them, and they say something interesting about them, and it says, "I took my horse to college." I laugh every time it comes on the monitor.
I took my horse to college.
Now, in all fairness, sir, if you rode the horse technically took you to college.
That's
And by the way, for our listeners, that is an obscure Lewis Black
I don't know
stand-up
if it's
special.
obscure.
For most people, it's obscure.
for people
Who-
without taste.
Hold on. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's what I was going to do. Let me get my cigarette holder and put it in. Sure, if you have no taste.
I would shit a solid polyp brick if you pulled out a
You-
cigarette holder.
Give it time. You know what? I was saying about that's an industry that's gone now, and I know we need to wrap up, but you made me think about my aunts that smoked, because most of them did,
And-
used to have those cigarette holders like the like little purses that had the clasp at the top, and you had to buy the one that would fit your brand of cigarettes. If you had the Slims, if you had the normal, and that was an entire industry that's gone now. It's like Rolodex. Those are industries that are gone. Nobody
Man, I still have my Rolodex. I do not.
who's in it.
No one.
Abraham Lincoln.
I guess everything is. This is my Rolodex.
Yeah, this is your Rolodex. But think about it, I mean, that used to be a sign of class in the
I have
business
Rolodex
world.
and porn all in the same thing.
You did that before. Well, I always hated going through your Rolodex. Who's
It was-
Cammy? Oh my God!
All the pages stuck together. You couldn't find anything.
All I needed was my Rolodex. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you so much for taking us back to the old timey Rolodexes. Jad, did you have something else to say? Yeah, I appreciate that. That 6 hours there where you didn't say anything. It was fantastic.
Hold on, let me do a music quote real quick. Do you really think I'm living a lie? Everclear. No, is that Everclear? Everlast? No, it's not Everlast. It's Everclear. Seems like it's Everclear.
Everlasting love.
This will be a time for us to sign off.
This
This has been Bonehead. Please release it.
Ah.